guys, Hannah over here at Punksteading. Sorry about this glare here. It's my wonderful kitchen light. And today I'm doing something that's relatively new. I've only ever done this once before, but I really enjoy it and it's working out so far. I'm making my own deodorant and it's 3 ingredients. It's coconut oil, it's baking soda, and it is arrowroot. And arrowroot is kind of like cornstarch. It's a thickening agent, but it's made from like tropical plant root instead of the monocrop that is corn. And I just prefer it because, I don't know, for personal preference. You can use cornstarch if you like. I just prefer the arrowroot myself. So this is a pretty, not complicated, but fairly long-ish process. You have to make sure everything's mixed correctly. So I'm just going to jump into what I'm doing and then kind of talk to you about why I switched afterwards. So you're going to see down here, I've got my coconut oil melting on the stove. So I don't want it coming to a boil, but you do want it on a little bit of heat because it is solid at room temperature. Let's open that up and nice and solid. It's just easier to mix if it's in liquid form. So I've already melted that on the stove. And then I've got my arrowroot. This whole big thing I found at Market of Choice. They were selling it in bulk. So I just picked out my favorite jar and filled how much I needed into this jar. And it was like $5 with, you know, the jar as well. So that's a 1/4 cup arrowroot. Scoopies are still a little bit wet. 1/4 cup arrowroot, and then my handy dandy baking soda. And baking soda, as a lot of you know, really soaks up odors very well, so it's great in deodorant. If you have sensitive skin, try using a little bit less than a 1/4 cup, but it seemed to work fine last time, so I'm going to keep it at a 1/4 cup. Okay. I'm going to use my handy dandy whisk and just make sure those dry ingredients are homogeneous. Perfect. And next is my coconut oil, also a 1/4 cup. Okay. Pour that in there. Got my spoon here, scoop out that, make sure I didn't miss anything, and just start mixing. And like I said, you do want to make sure it's pretty homogeneous. It'll start soaking up the coconut oil fairly quickly, but you don't want any like chunks of dry and then just a chunk of coconut oil. So you want to make sure it is mixed pretty well. And the reason I decided to switch to my own deodorant, and I'm not expecting everybody who watches this video to go out and switch to deodorant, but this is what I did, and I, decided I could kind of compromise on having, homemade deodorant versus the store-bought stuff. I had used antiperspirant for a really long time. The difference between antiperspirant and deodorant is that antiperspirant prevents you from perspiring, so prevents the sweat from actually coming out of your pores. And to do that, they clog your pores with aluminum. Aluminum isn't necessarily bad. I found one lady claim that aluminum was like a cause of breast cancer, especially since it was close to women's breasts, but that was unfounded. There's a lot of scientific research that has been done on aluminum, and as far as they can tell, they couldn't really say for sure if aluminum caused breast cancer because there was like no one isolating factor studying only aluminum on someone for a really long period of time. So I don't think that's a founded claim, but common sense does tell me that if your pores are clogged, that's not healthy, especially if they are from your sweat glands. Sweat is naturally trying to cool you down, so it's probably not healthy to have your pores clogged with whatever element, be it aluminum or, whatever. All right. So with the warm coconut oil, it's kind of like a little paste right now. Once that coconut oil cools back down, it'll really thicken up and it'll be a deodorant. So while it's in this nice like pasty form, I'm gonna put it in my little deodorant bottle. This is my antiperspirant. I did keep it in a jar for a little while, and you're more than welcome to keep your deodorant in a jar, but mine tended to crumble a little bit, so I just put it in the stick because it's way easier to apply and stuff like that. Anyway, while I'm doing that, back to why I chose deodorant. Because I work an agriculture job and I'm not around the general public all the time, and we can just kind of work with each other or by ourselves for a big portion of the day. I chose to go deodorant route. So I didn't mind being a little sweaty as long as I wasn't super stinky. Oh, it's really giving me a hard time. I found that I could compromise with that. And I really, at that point, just didn't even check into, store-bought deodorants. At that point, I was pretty far into my detox stuff, and I was like, you know what, I can just make this myself, and hopefully it'll turn out fairly well. And I did. And again, this has been a fairly new addition to my personal care, but I really enjoy making it. It kind of makes me feel like a witch for some reason. Whoop, that was too much there. Boop, back in you go, buddy. It's been a really fun experiment, and if anything goes wrong with it, I will more than willingly update you guys and be like, well, I used this deodorant for 6 months and it sucks, but I've used it for 3 and it's been totally fine. Again, am I under any assumptions, or am I wearing rose-colored glasses that every single person who sees this video is going to try homemade deodorant and is going to automatically make the swap? Absolutely not. But based on my knowledge about how my personal body works and my comfort level with my people at work and with my body, I am making the switch. So I really hope this encourages you, hopefully, to try to make your own deodorant, but also to think about why you're using what you're doing. Is it necessary for you, or are you just kind of doing it because that's been what you've always done and what people have always done, and people tell you that, sweat is bad and all this kind of stuff, when that's just not necessarily the case. So please take this as an encouraging moment to think about what you are putting on your body. Think about if it was your decision whether or not to put it on your body. And if it wasn't your decision to put it on your body, if it was something you just kind of done because you were always told to do it, maybe think about other options in whatever product you're putting on your body. It doesn't have to be deodorant. This is getting a little messy, guys. But it can be any product on your body. All right, I'm going to let that sit. It's nice and gross looking right now, but once it dries, I can just wipe off that excess with a paper towel or use it myself, and there you go. That's homemade deodorant. It'll take about 30 minutes to thicken up, and then I can just pop the cap back on it, and that'll be good for, I don't know, a month or 2, and I just do the same thing again. All right, bye guys.